Well, right now, we'd be among the very best in NATO. Right now, once these are all online, after the United States, the only other NATO country with this many submarines would be Turkey. This would put us ahead of the Royal Navy and a lot of other countries in NATO. So we become a player in the Pacific Rim and in the North Atlantic.
Thanks for joining us. This is tplmedia.ca. Check us out in your hometown. Look at tplmedia.ca/local, and we may just be there. If we're not, we're likely coming to you with a localized version of what we're doing here right now. Yesterday afternoon, as we record this, Prime Minister Carney announced a new leveling up of our military. And of course, we've been hearing that that was part of the defense strategy for our nation. Now it's starting to come to fruition. We're starting to see orders for procurement and understand what kind of military equipment we've got our eye on. To talk to us more about this, our very own most knowledgeable about the military guy on the staff is Jim Lang. How are you, you handsome son of a gun?
I'm good, Mike. Nicely played. Well done. Give me some of that. Yeah. It was an historic day for Mark Carney. It was the largest contract ever awarded in the history of the Canadian Armed Forces.
Okay.
Now, a byproduct of that is the size of the contract with the 12 submarines involved, but also the cost of military equipment has grown exponentially over the decades. So these are 12 type 212 or 212 CD submarines built by TKMS of Germany. And they are really a fascinating design. The hulls are a diamond shape as opposed to the traditional shape that you see submarines. They're a diamond shape.
Submarines generally have a
exactly.
I guess an egg.
All rounded. Yes.
Yeah. Egg sort of bottom.
And this is a diamond shape. It's built for extreme stealth. It's extremely difficult to find in the ocean, which is good. It can operate with a crew of only 28 sailors because of all the automation and because of the use of cutting-edge hydrogen fuel cells and air-independent propulsion. It can stay submerged for 40 days. So once
put perspective on that. On average, what is a submarine with this kind of crew able to do?
Well, it's not the crew. The problem is it's a diesel-electric submarine, but
right.
A new version. And the current versions, you can only stay submerged for so long, and then they have to surface. And
is that how much is the average in that?
Say 10 days to 2 weeks.
Wow. So this is a significant difference.
It's enormous. So because of the technology, because it's so advanced, and because the Canadian Navy has never had anything like this, they could leave Halifax, operate under the ice pack of the Arctic Circle for weeks at a time without any problems, then come back. So this is a problem that Canada has had for decades, that the U.S., the Russian, and other navies could operate nuclear submarines, which don't need to surface at will under the ice pack of the Arctic Ocean and in sovereign waters of Canada. Now Canada has a submarine that can do it as well.
What's the advantage to having a submarine that operates diesel hydrogen with this new system as a diesel electric as opposed to nuclear? Should we have maybe taken a look at nuclear subs, or is it so cost prohibitive and so little coverage with that much spend, this was a better idea?
To me, it's the cost involved. It's a technology the Canadian Navy has never worked with. The U.S. Navy has been working with nuclear-powered submarines and aircraft carriers since the 1960s.
Right.
The British as well, and some other countries, but especially the Russians. But Canada's never had this. We don't have anyone trained in it. Okay. We don't have any that the knowledge or technology. Could we train up to it? Of course, anything's possible, but it takes time. And as the commanders of the Canadian Navy are saying, Monday in Halifax, like, we need these submarines yesterday.
Right.
Currently, we have a fleet of 4 secondhand used Victoria-class submarines, only one of which is seaworthy right now, and they have to MacGyver these things as long as possible to the first tranche of submarines are built. At best case scenario, Canada would have 4 of these brand new submarines in the fleet by 2034. That's the best case scenario.
Wow.
Because of the complication, the difficulty, the expertise in going to building these submarines, it's not like they can turn them around in a few months.
They're not on the line someplace.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
and
is there any sort of specialized engineering that we are adding to this that you can think of that would make it sort of a specialized build for us?
Very much so. There's a few things involved. The sonar technology in the old, movies, you hear the guy exactly.
I hear that in my head all day long, Jim.
They have systems, passive sonar, that can allow them to identify ships and submarines from great distances without any noise involved. That means the other person can't find out that someone's stalking them.
And how stealth are these?
Apparently, by all accounts, they are virtually impossible to discover in the water because of the design of the hull. And when it's running on the hydrogen fuel cells, it's not making any noise. The problem with a nuclear reactor is they could dial it down as much as possible and go slow, but there's a hiss because it's always got the steam going. So eventually you will discover the sound of the machinery, but you can't with this. So it'll be fascinating for the Canadian Navy.
How many are we doing?
12.
12 in total.
So it'll be 6 in each coast.
Right. Okay. And where do we fit in, do you think, globally with this technology?
Well, right now we'd be among the very best in NATO. Right now, once these are all online, after the United States, the only other NATO country with this many submarines would be Turkey. This would put us ahead of the Royal Navy and a lot of other countries in NATO. So we become a player in the Pacific Rim and in the North Atlantic for NATO. And the great thing about, because Germany are building these submarines for Norway and Canada, now there's interchange with all the crews. So Germans and Canadians and Norwegian sailors can all work together and train each other. So by the time these submarines are delivered, the Canadian sailors will have spent time in the German and Norwegian navies training on their version of these submarines, to the point that it'll be a pretty seamless transition, Mike.
That's really interesting. And then the ability for, how many subs will Norway take?
I believe they're doing 6.
Okay, so combined, you've got 18 subs able to, of this variety.
And Germany's doing at least 9, so there'll be 27 between the 3 countries.
So NATO just really did a major upgrade and overhaul, really, of their observance worldwide of what's happening below the surface, which is interesting to me because so much of our undiscovered, or I think a lot can happen under the surface of the water.
Yeah.
It's just too easy to, especially for the average citizen, to even comprehend how much, when you say that, indefinitely a nuclear sub can be under the surface.
Until they run out of food. That's the only time they have to surface.
I mean, that's a wild perspective on how we protect ourselves. Over land seems like an easier game to manage. As we head underwater, it seems like the world is getting better at doing this.
And Mike, what Ukraine has proven to everyone, that if you're above ground, they can find you with a drone.
Yeah.
They can find you and destroy you. And that means a surface ship or a tank or a truck, it can be discovered and destroyed. But if you're spending 40 days submerged in the ocean, it's a lot harder to find you.
How do you think this helps or hinders, or does it do nothing for our relationship with the U.S.?
Well, it actually helps it. The one thing the U.S. like doing on their exercises is having a mixed fleet of ships and submarines. Currently, all the American submarines are nuclear powered. So they know that some of their future, people, their enemies, the people they may go to combat with, have a mixture of nuclear and diesel electric. So they like to train trying to find or escape from diesel electric submarines. Right. So their crews know what to look for and how to look for them. Because if they just work with each other, that doesn't help them. They may get to a point where, wait a second, we're going up against an enemy who's a diesel electric running on their batteries. We can't find them because we've not trained for that. So I think it helps for the Americans, but more importantly, it helps for NATO. And this is a major win for Mark Carney and the Liberals. There's no way that Pierre Poilievre, the Conservatives, could criticize something they've been asking for years. So he's taken the power away from Poilievre. Poilievre, if he tries to criticize what Carney's done, or the decision of the armed forces, or the announcement by McGuinty, the Minister of National Defense, and how they're going forward with this cutting edge, never before seen in the Canadian Navy, he would look like an idiot. So I think he's just got to shut up and take a seat for this one.
I think the only blowback is going to be, why aren't we building them here at home?
Because we've
not an expertise.
We can build surface ships as well as anyone on the planet, and we've proven it time and time again. And we are building a world-class river.